Hi everyone, my name's Paul from Plan Your Patch. Thanks for joining us. So today what we're going to be doing is talking a little bit about how to keep deer out of your garden, which can be a big problem for lots of people, particularly in the US and Europe where there's lots of wild populations out there. So this video is ideally suited to anyone that is either having trouble right now or is trying a few things that probably maybe initially worked and now are not working so well. And the information I'm going to give you is basically all about all the different types of deer repellents that are available, what works best and what doesn't. And all of this information I'm giving you is based upon some academic studies that have been done by a department in the US government and also some academic research that's been done. And if you want to read more about exactly all the information that I'm giving you with details of some of the products that are used or recommended, or at least were at the time in which the blog was written, there's a link in the description below. Okay, so the first thing we want to go through is the types of repellents that are available, because there are just heaps on the market, heaps and heaps and heaps. So they can be broadly categorized into two different types. So the first type is chemical, and the second type being mechanical. So within the chemical, there are also different types of products which are based on different mechanisms to keep the deer away. Of these, there are basically three different types. There's or a combination of the two. So there's a fear-inducing deer repellent. So that's usually based on mimicking the smells of a predator. So that might, in some cases, it's actually based on the urine of a predator, like a coyote or something like that. And the second two types, which are which are quite similar, is a pain-inducing repellent, which basically means that they spray something like pepper or capsicum spray on the leaves, which cause discomfort to the deer when the plant's been eaten, or they just make the thing taste poorly. And they're kind of the two categories are very, very similar. Now, of these two categories within the chemicals, the one that is most effective, according to the studies, is by far and away is the fear-inducing repellents. Now, so they tend to keep the deer out of the area, and so they don't even try the foliage. They just don't go near the area because of the risk they think there's a predator nearby. But the problem with these repellents, and this seems to be across the board with all of the deer repellent products, is that there's a limit to how long they're effective for. So if you use the same product over and over and over again over an extended period of time, the deer gets desensitized to the smell of that product and then starts to come back into your garden, which is why if you've used some repellents in the past and they initially got rid of them and then they're back, that's the reason why. So the length of time that they tip the best ones work for is anywhere between is around about 12 weeks or 3 months. So if you're wanting to use these products, and by the way, based on the research that I'm seeing, the fear-inducing chemical repellents do seem to be the most effective. What you need to do is make sure that you're buying a few different varieties of that one and just rotating through how you use them. So I'd recommend ideally 3, so that the deer have at least 6 to 9 months before they see the same product used again. Now within the products, and I'm sorry, I'm just looking down reading the information I have in front of me, is they can be based on different things. So that's what you want. You don't want different brands of exactly the same base material, otherwise it's just not going to be effective. So the types of ones that some of the examples of some of the commercial products, some of them use based on putrid egg smell. So that's supposed to basically mimic some predators. Other products one of them that's available is based on coyote urine, and then other ones are also using things like edible animal protein and things like that. So each one of these products, what you want to be doing is not favouring one particular brand, but simply saying, right, I need to make sure that I look at the active ingredients and make sure that they're different and that they're definitely fear-inducing, because that's the preferred the preferred type of product. And yeah, so basically the second type of systems as a general category is the mechanical systems, which we mentioned before. Okay, and so what the studies that are around, they're not as definitive, there's not as many of them, so the information is a little weaker than what I've just given you, is basically there's been a few studies done, one by the University of Nebraska, where they've looked at the effectiveness of mechanical systems. So mechanical systems can be things like lights that automatically turn on. They can also be sprinklers that are motion sensitive, so that they pop up and they start spraying. And the other one that they often also use is, which I've seen, is predator eyes, which is basically just the shape of a predator, and at night the eyes glow. Now, of these, according to the Nebraska study, they tested it over about an eight-week period over about 4 different sites, looking at protecting corn. And they found that basically using these types of systems didn't really have a major impact on the deer behaviour. And even with the predator eyes, I've actually seen when you go onto, if you go onto Amazon and have a look at the right product, you'll see that there's actually people complaining about the products because they've got video of night vision of a deer literally sitting next to one of these predator things just eating their crops. So they're not as effective. So if I was using a combination of products, what I would be tending to do to make them more effective is I would probably use a fear-inducing chemical repellent in combination with a mechanical deterrent, like a sprinkler or something like that. But even with the sprinkler, the key to this consistently is to make sure that you're varying what the animal is seeing. So obviously, in the case of mechanical deterrents, you need to basically move that sprinkler around, and sometimes for some periods of time turn it off and then turn it back on. So there's a bit of a surprise factor to just keep what the animals are seeing varying all the time, so that there's always this fear that if they come into your garden, bad things are going to happen. Now, the last category of plant ones that I do want to cover, which is it's in the group of mechanical repellents, but there's a lot of them and there's lots of claims made about them, is ultrasonic devices, and they use them for rats and dogs and all that sort of thing. Now, these devices, according to the studies that we've seen, and they've looked at different types of animals, is what they are saying is that they are completely 100% ineffective. And we've seen multiple studies which have basically said that these things do not do anything to help with their deer. So this is the one device where I'd say absolutely do not buy it. Do not waste your money. Spend your money on your chemical repellents and mechanical, little bit of variation, and that's going to give you the best chance to discourage deer from coming in. Now, if you're thinking of also fencing off an area, the other thing you need to be aware of is the height of the fences that you need to put in place. So that's obviously the last resort. If you just say, you know what, I'm sick of these deer and I just want to get them out, and you decide to build a fence, you need to build that fence to be approximately 2 meters high, or about at least 6 foot to 7 foot high. And that's because deer are very good jumpers. And again, I'll leave a link in the description, which talks about a study that was done on how high deer can jump. And basically what they did in this study is that they fenced the animals in, and they had some people at one end basically pushing the deer towards the fence and seeing whether they had the ability to jump over the fence. And they found that that basically a fence of, say, 6 foot high, 5 to 6 foot high, the deer can clear it comfortably, the vast majority of deer. It's only when you're getting to 7 or 8 feet where the deer thinks twice about going over the top. Okay, so hopefully that gives you all the possible choices that you have: mechanical, chemical, and if you really want to spend the money, you want to put fences in, well, they probably need to be about 7 to 8 foot tall or about 2 meters high. I hope that video was useful and hopefully answers your questions. If you found this video useful, please subscribe. It helps us with the channel. And other than that, have a great day, guys. Cheers.